Margaret Cahill and Dumalash Gale, I had to go in and cover for the chair in the Dáil chamber. It's interesting. I come back at this time. You're talking about the Oireachtas, and I like the Oireachtas as well. And the mood music, and Mr. Backhouse, the mood music is nice. You're saying, but the mood music from the emails I'm getting, isn't that well synchronized at all? And it's a lot of it's about out of step and out of tune. And at the outset, I want to welcome you all, some old faces, some new faces, and thank you for coming. And anything I say here is not directed at anyone personally, but I have no faith. I've lost all faith in RT and the shenanigans, the flagship as we recognised it. And you made mention there in your different programming and the RT exposing on the horse situation, cruelty, and all the different RT investigates. Who are we going to get to do an investigation that's independent of the shenanigans that went on at RT? Who's going to do it? We've had two phony reports, I call them. They're only just semantics, sketching over criminality that has gone on in RT. Basic, naked criminality. I've called out a handful of fraud squad to be sent into our cab. The 2005 Consolidation Social Welfare Act has been flouted for the last 30 years. Knowingly, to Revenue, the head of Revenue, the Secretary General of Revenue, and the Secretary General of the Department of Finance, and the Secretary General of the Department of Social Welfare. And you have had unlimited access, RT as an entity, to do deals and sit down with Revenue and to discuss these issues. And we see there's a figure of 15.2 million has been earmarked to address a portion of the settlements related to unpaid PRSI. Without sounding repetitive, I'm a businessman, any other businessman in the country doesn't have that opportunity. They pay their taxes properly. They don't have massive penalties and massive penalties and fines, interest and penalties. And how the sacred cow that you have out in Montrose can just do these deals, and with the nod and the wink of, I said, the Secretary Generals, both departments, Revenue won't take responsibility for it, neither will Social Welfare. But the law has clearly been flouted. Any other employer attempt to do 1,000 bits of that, he could be in prison. He'd be definitely closed down, out of business. So what you're thinking about around here, and the mood music has said, and how does RT has said going to address that loss? And that accruing bill is out there for the workers. And indeed, the workers have contacted us, and there are hundreds of workers. Just, you're going to dismiss 400 of them now, or voluntary, you said. And many of them have already been pushed out and have no pensions. Senior broadcasts that we liked in different programs, they haven't even a pension because of the illegality and the malpractice that has been flourishing at RTE and been nourished by both Revenue and by Social Welfare, and you're allowed to do it, get away with it, successive ministers. So this is all a big game. You got your 20 million now already from the Minister of Taxpayers' money. I knew that had happened before we break up for the summer. And you'll have the report tomorrow. We'll all go into the sunset, and everything is fine. But it's not fine. Because there's a moral compass that has been completely just stamped on. And the workers, as I said out there, you know what I mean, the treatment of the workers, who are the backbone of the organisation, have had their morale flattened and their jobs put at risk by succession of scandals. And this strategy here lacks a clear appreciation for those workers, or respect for those workers. That you forced and coerced people, and I said, with the TUAG the last day I was here, trade union group, and they were in the middle of this, up to the here with the law breaking and corruption that went on. Full stop, up to there, you're all in this together. Saying that was in many other, to use other parallences, but it has gone on, and semantics going on here, and I'm going to fix it. And I honestly feel we need a much more radical, and there are other parts of legislation that I'm informed have been flouted as well. Law breaking. And where are we going to get it? We're going to get BBC Panorama to come in and do an investigation to RT. You can, and some very good RT investigative programs, but as I said in the past, you've had some very damaging ones to companies that you went over the top completely and behaved illegally in hiring drivers, bogus drivers, they weren't drivers at all, at a lorry company. That happened. That's disgusting that you do that to make a good sensational programme, to destroy a man's livelihood and a business. And the Department of Transport then come in, God rest him, he's deceased now, come in and try and take the licence off him because of what you put in the programme. Public service broadcast, yes, it has a duty. and we need to radically look at it here, but it can't be, at the expense of everybody else, and the fat cats in RT and not any year here, and people coming in, and there were questions earlier when I was here about why wouldn't people come in and give evidence and testimony, and you're going to pay them out for 100,000 figure. Look, the whole thing, it's filthy. And can I just say, I believe that a much more radical approach is to be taken in that you need to contemplate, not only contemplate, but sell Montrose. And drive the sacred cow out past the red cow. And put the cow out somewhere in the country where we can, I'll have a little go at milking her. And milking her, I say that in an honest parlance, we can all have a share. And people can, if I could continue with the laughter, I'd appreciate it. If we could have access to everybody, and the young people that aspire to join the Oireachtas and aspire to become journalists, have it in Portlaoise or have it in Mullingar, in the Midlands. Back to basics, where it started. We have hugely, look at the success of TJ Carr. Look at that, tremendous success. So we need to, this tinkering that we've done here, and this playing around, it's like rubbing, as I said, butter to a fat sow's you know where.
Reality TV show in that.
Listen, thank you. Listen, I know your role here is to court RT and get on every second programme that's not a deputy or senator, so that's your own business.
You give a fair bit of time, right?
You have, if you're business, and you're not bad at either, Senator Dooley. But look,
okay, colleagues,
please, if I could continue.
I know, Deputy McGrath, you still have 5 minutes. Maybe you want to ask a question?
Well, I've asked the questions.
Pardon?
I've asked the questions.
Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon.
I mean,
and your question is for who?
I've asked how they're going to. No.
Sorry, colleagues. I need to be able to hear him. Yes?
If I could do without the cheerleaders, that's what has this committee and this whole process in such a low basis that the public looking in can see what's going on. The charade of the political parties come in here, ask funny questions, soft answers, back, and then they'll be all looked after.
Deputy McGrath.
No.
With respect, I would just say, in your absence, there was some.
Of course there was, and I was here and I didn't interrupt any.
No.
Or comment.
I'm just saying that there has been robust interrogation here. It hasn't been.
But I'm just saying we've got nowhere since we started this at the exit of the Forbes and the whole implosion of what happened at RT. The workers who I meet, the red handsome out there, and Miss McCarthy met her over the years, and she's very good to be in our there first. And the workers I still meet in makeup and ordinary people out there doing their best. The honest day's work for the honest day's pay, and to see this, as I said, law breaking going on and nobody tackling it. No department, neither of them won't tackle it.
Want to leave a little bit of time for a response?
I do, yes, please, but I'm just trying to emphasise. I'm trying to emphasise that I have absolutely no faith in what we're at here, what we have been at, and the big hullabaloo tomorrow launching the report, and back to one, we'll all go off for summer holidays in RT, going their merry way. Because they're untouchable. They're proved to be untouchable. Nobody can have that much money owing in tax and be still operating as a business. Reckless trading has to be invoked on the board and the previous board, and it's still reckless trading because that balance, 21 million, we're told here, 15.2 million, is there in fund to settle with revenue. Nobody else in the country has that luxury of being able to have a fund away to settle with revenue. They pay up or they have massive penalties and fines. So whoever wants to answer, Shen, I appreciate it. Good morning.
Mr. Backhurst, would you like to
Yeah,
respond?
I'm not totally clear what the question is, I'm afraid, but all I would say, Deputy, is, I can only answer one part of that, and then I feel that this committee and the Public Accounts Committee has done an extremely effective job in holding RT to account and asking tough questions and has driven change. And I know from what you said you won't accept that, but I can only talk from my own experience. It is asked for answers, it's got answers, and it's driven change in the organisation, and this is a different organisation. And that's all I can say to answer that question.
Is there anybody else of our witnesses here would like to respond? Yeah, Mike?
Yeah, Deputy, that's our estimate of what will be owing. It's ongoing. We're in constant contact with the DSP. They haven't sent us a bill for that amount of money. That's how much we think by the end of it that we may owe. That's just an estimate. We don't know yet. So it's not that we haven't paid a bill to the Department of Social Protection. Unlike Revenue go in and take a blanket approach like they did when they reviewed contractors previously, and we paid the taxes over and the interest and the penalties. This one with DSP goes to the individual. So if it's Mike that's missing his PRSI, it has to go to him. You can't take a blanket approach. So that's just our estimate at the minute. So it's not a bill that we've received.
Thanks for your curt answer, but okay, true, but nobody else has that luxury. that DSP would allow that. Nobody else. Social welfare payments will be stopped for an ordinary person that's on unemployment benefit. So nobody, this is the problem, you don't get it. And to mention public accounts, Mr. Backhouse, you mentioned it. I think it's 2019 public accounts, all this evidence was presented again, and the department were well aware of it, and are well aware of it, and nothing happened. PAC that everybody seems to have massive respect for brought all this to the fore about this bogus self-employment, about the tax evasion, and about the corrupt practices going on, came before PAC, was unfolded in these committee rooms, and nothing was done about it. Absolutely zilch. Nothing. So the Secretary General of Social Welfare, Department of Social Welfare and of Revenue have a lot of questions to answer, and they need to answer them because they're public paid officials, and law has been broken on a narrowly basis when these bogus self-employed people are in RT. And it's not only in RT, to be fair to you, there's a lot of other areas as well. And this has all been done with ICTU and with, as I said, the employer organisations, well, they were all in this together, all of them. And massive plan was laid to evade tax at enormous scale, and it's happened. But the saddest part of all this is the workers, like Ober or Quewick in RT, they now have no pensions. And some of them have...
You insisted by the clerk that you've identified some officials and that you need to withdraw that.
I have identified the people for the book stops, Secretary Generals of departments that were made aware of this in 2019. It might have been a different person at the time, but their role is to run the organisations they're under. They come down on people, go after social welfare if they're defrauding, and rightly so. Our back payments, and we all deal with cases every day of the week where overpayment social welfare, and there's very rigorous payments. This payment plan is paid out. Where's the payment plan that you're entering into with social welfare? Has there only been talk of a payment plan to repay all the money that was robbed from the taxpayers?
We're dealing with the Department of Social Protection for all the individuals, and I'm pleased to say that we're making substantial progress with them. In fact, around 50% of the cases they've been looking at are either resolved or close to being resolved.
And could you answer one final question, I don't know how much time I have, but what would be the problem with having a lovely big auction for the grand, the Sacred Cow out in Montrose, and relocate and use the money that you have to restructure RT, not to be putting the begging bowl out to the unfortunate taxpayers?
Deputy, we looked at selling the site and moving off it. The estimate for selling the site was significantly below the numbers that I think I've heard in here before. It was around 100 million for the rest of the site because of all the listed buildings, and the cost of moving off the site would present a huge bill to taxpayers. It's much cheaper to stay on the site and consolidate, and that's one of the reasons we've arrived at that solution.
Sounds very simplistic to me anyway, but...
Oh, I'm sorry to be simplistic, but it's the fact.
Well,
Okay, so-
maybe it might, I don't know how factual it is with the property values that part of Dublin.
I'm not going to, we've had it valued by a professional who knows what they're talking about.
Sorry?
We've had it valued by a professional who knows what they're talking about, Deputy. So, we wanted to get a proper valuation and we got
So you
one.
want to stay in the sacred ground, the Hallow spot, and keep everything and milk the taxpayers?
No, we're making
all the time?
significant changes to the
Well,
organisation.
the workers don't feel that.
Well, they do feel that. That's
don't
one of the
feel
reasons
that,
they're
do they?
concerned.
We've all got emails from them.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've used your time.